After 2 months at sea, they had reached the South Carolina coast. At Port Royal, they were finally able to disembark the Anne and set foot again on solid ground. There, the English travelers gathered for Sunday services. The minister told them to give thanks to God, but his listeners hardly needed this instruction. They were already grateful just to be alive. After the minister delivered his sermon, they all celebrated their good fortune of surviving their journey. Together, they sat down for a great feast, all having their fill of pork, turkey, and beef, washed down with gulps of punch and beer. The travelers' journey, however, was not over. On January 30th, 1733, they set out in 6 boats, sailing down the Savannah River. 2 days later, they reached the foot of the Yamacraw Bluff. Their leader, James Oglethorpe, had carefully chosen this spot. Atop the bluff, they would build the first settlement in Georgia, the 13th English colony established in North America. The location seemed perfect. Situated along the Savannah, it was a short boat trip away from the English settlements to the north in South Carolina. It was also close to the lands of the Yamacraws, a small group of Native Americans who belonged to the powerful Creek Confederacy of tribes. Oglethorpe had already met with Tomochichi, the leader of the Yamacraws. Tomochichi welcomed the Georgians and hoped they would become allies and trading partners. The area surrounding the bluff was rich in resources. All around were forests of pine trees, providing the wood the colonists would need to construct houses and other buildings. Nearby, there was plenty of fresh water as well. And the bluff was on high ground. Because of its elevation, a settlement there would be protected both from flooding and from enemy attack. On their first night at Yamacraw Bluff, the Georgians crowded into 4 large tents. Oglethorpe, however, chose to stay outside, keeping watch by the light of a fire. As he looked over the river, he must have marveled that his dream of building a colony was so close to coming true. But Georgia was not only Oglethorpe's dream. For decades, creating the colony was an idea that had excited the imaginations of the English, both in the mother country and in its faraway colonies. Chapter 1. A Home for the Poor. Oglethorpe's followers were far from the first settlers in the area they called Georgia. For centuries, Georgia had been the home of the Creeks. Other large Native American groups lived nearby. The Cherokees' homeland was located to the north, while the Choctaws and the Chickasaws lay to the west. The first Europeans in Georgia were Spanish. They arrived there about 150 years before the English. The Spanish established several forts and missions in Georgia, but their stronghold in the area was St. Augustine in present-day Florida. This town, founded in 1565, was the first permanent European settlement in North America. In the mid-16th century, the French also had their eye on Georgia and Florida. They sent several expeditions into the region. At times, the French and the Spanish battled one another.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.